All right, looks like we're live. So welcome everyone to Edcamp 3.0. This is a session on remixing PD, and we'll be talking about how to personalize, differentiate, and change PD for educators and what we can do to make PD better and what educators need when they need it. So we have a couple people with us right now, and if more come, we'll introduce them when they get here. So go ahead and let's start with Chris. Well, I'll tell a little bit about myself, and then we'll go to Chris and then Jessica. How's that sound?
Great.
So my name is Ray Fearing. I'm the Educational Technology Coordinator with Del Norte County Unified in California, and PD is what I do. A big part of my job is setting up PD for teachers and helping train teachers, and so I'm very interested in changing it up. I believe that we should teach teachers the way we want students taught, and traditionally we don't do that too much. So I'm looking at ways to alter what we currently do. We've done some cool stuff, and I want to learn what others are doing and use that. So that's a little bit about me. Chris, why don't you go?
I am a local school technology coordinator and instructional coach at an elementary school, and I am near Decula, Georgia, about an hour northeast of Atlanta. And I'm really interested in a lot of the same things that you mentioned. Our traditional models of delivering PD sort of ignore teacher voice and the things that we do with our students. Like you said, we don't do enough of it with teachers. So just modeling that good instruction while we deliver PD and really giving teachers reasons to be engaged and to get more out of it than we're currently offering them.
Excellent. Jessica.
I am Jessica Raleigh. I'm a personalized learning field manager for Denver Public Schools, and so we are really trying to rethink what professional development looks like in our district. When I say we, I think there's a growing group of people in the district in a few different departments who are really interested in that. Specifically, we support a lot of schools who are piloting blended and personalized learning, and so we're really trying to model for them what it is we're asking them to do in their classrooms with their kids. We think that's really important, that if we want to have our teachers teaching this way, that they get to experience that as a learner, and that we really trust teachers more and really think about them personalizing their own experience, just like we want kids to do that for themselves. So it's just become a big passion for me in the last year or so, and I'm really excited to get some new ideas and hear what other people are doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome for sure. So we are all on the same page, it sounds like, as far as what we're hoping to learn, and I think we should just start sharing a little bit about what we want out of this hangout and what we want to discuss here. So, Jessica, let's start back with you. What specific questions do you have, or what topics do you want to cover in our short time?
Oh gosh, really, I want to hear what other people are doing and thinking, and I found that the way to really kind of do this work is with other people, and other people who are outside of my district and outside of our state often help me think things through, and so I really love connecting with other people. And I think that, if I just sometimes want this repository of here's how we personalize PD, and I just can read through it and connect with all those people, because I feel like that's the key, and that's the kind of the missing piece, is that we're not connecting and sharing all the stuff we're doing, so we're all replicating the same things in silos instead of kind of pooling our resources and sharing all of that. So I just really want to hear what you guys are doing, and maybe hear some of the things that are challenges, and hopefully share some things that we're doing that might help with that.
Chris, how about you?
Kind of the same things, just to share some resources and get some perspective from people in a different place. I'm in a really, really large district, and we have a lot of local school control at our district, so there's not a lot of things coming from our district office, and a lot of schools are not doing technology integration like my school is. So I found that I don't have a lot of resources with my colleagues, and sometimes I'll try to start conversations and I'll get kind of like a funny look, like, what are you talking about? What's that? Or anyway, somebody didn't know what PBL was the other day, and I was like, what are we going to do? So I love connecting with people and getting different perspectives and trying to bring those back to the work that we're doing with our teachers and our students. I went ahead and shared something. If y'all have the chat toolbar, click the chat. you can share links in there. This is a link that a couple of teachers shared. They did a poster session at ISTE, which was in Atlanta about a week ago. And it was some good resources for technology coaching and PD specifically. I liked it because it was not just, here's 20 apps, have fun. It was more about building school culture and the kind of conditions that it takes to make professional learning a success at a school. So just things like that, just sharing those resources, getting some ideas from you guys and others is really what I'm looking for.
Excellent. Well, I like everything you guys said, and I'm wanting to know the same things, and I'm wondering if we couldn't just go around and talk a little bit about one thing that's working and one challenge we're having. I bet we'd get a lot of insight there. I've got like 5 things in my head I want to talk to you guys about. I'll start with some things that are doing well. We've done a lot of. I am the ET department, ed tech department, so it's just one for the entire county. We have about 4,000 students and 240 or so teachers. And what's really been great this year is going out in the classrooms and doing that push-in coaching and being there with them. And I see that I get a lot better results from that than having 30 or 40 teachers come to a training and have them sit and listen and do something, but then sending them back. And so I think that's an important thing I want to continue, and I'm not sure how we can address that with personalized online PD, but that is a facet of personalized PD I'm very interested in pursuing, is how to get them that experience of working with somebody's stuff, but until they see it done with students, it's challenging to adopt it. And so the push-in coaching has been really, really good. We've also done some hangouts like this for PD. Not a ton of them, but a few, and we have some regulars that attend those and some new teachers that are reaching out and doing those things. But these hangouts work really well too, because like this one, we can record it and teachers can view it later. And I've had teachers tell me, hey, I watched a video you did on, I think it was Symbaloo, and I watched it weeks after it was done, but I learned some stuff from that. So I think having an archive of those types of videos, not so much an instructional video, but a discussion where they can talk, hear what other people were talking about and hear teachers in the classroom talk about how it went. So those are some things that we're doing to personalize that are going really well. What I really want to know more about is, and I'm working on right now, is building an online platform for teachers. So I started building one after New Milford High School's Worlds of Learning. Have you guys seen that before?
Yes.
That's awesome. And I'll put that at bar just in case. But Worlds of Learning from New Milford.
Uh-oh. Did we lose her?
So I'll go ahead and share something while her
awesome.
connection's buffering. So when Ray was talking about Hangouts, it was getting me thinking about, we've also been starting to do some things with Hangouts, and one of the things, I put it in the chat here, and then I also put it in the shared notes, and I'll tweet it out in a second, but Ben Wilkoff started Project Roundtable, and it's Hangouts on air with a panel of people talking about a specific topic. And so I have the great fortune of working with Ben in Denver, and so I started thinking about, well, we have all these teachers who are looking at these specific topics within personalized learning and blended learning, and asking a lot of the same questions over and over again, and rightly so, because it's new to them, and so it's almost like seeing them go through this life cycle of, what are the questions that they first start with, which is always like, what devices are we going to use? What devices are we going to use? And then eventually kind of getting them to the point where they realize that actually, yeah, we have the devices, things are kind of stable, but now what's the next step? And so just that whole process. And so my team and I started doing some roundtables just on topics as people started, identifying those things as needs. And so I've been really thinking a lot about how we can maximize Hangouts for coaching as well, because we just can't get to every teacher around the district. And so I think being able to, maybe start that conversation with them and build that relationship in person, but then take that to a virtual space so that we get to, have those touch points with them more frequently, because I think, they understand that that's, they have 20 minutes for their plan time between trying to grab something to eat and running from here, there, and everywhere. And so if we can just be available to them for that 20 minutes rather than having to make it a big ordeal, I think virtual office hours and, especially because of the Hangouts on Air being recorded, just if one teacher is asking the question, I'm always thinking about how many other teachers are wondering. And so what can I do to put that information in a place so it can live somewhere? Because the answer should never live with me and the person who asked it. I always want it to live somewhere else.
I agree. That kind of brings up something that I'm passionate about too. Is we're working hard to help kids learn in new modalities and with new tools, but sometimes we forget that we have a whole core of teachers that's not really used to learning that way. And so we almost have to teach them how to learn from things like Hangouts on Air and making them available and not expect them to just run with it right away. That, like you were saying, it's going to be a learning process. I really love that we have regularly scheduled professional learning in my building, but then I get to follow it up with instructional coaching too, which is really a great model because we get to introduce something at professional learning, but then I get to follow up with people on their level, teaching side by side with them, doing some reflection with them, and I feel like that's really the heart of PD, that to personalize it is that person right there in your class with you. So many teachers shared with me this year, they said, I would have never tried that if you weren't right here.
Mm-hmm.
And because they tried it, and one of my favorite things to do, this is going to sound silly, but I actually like messing up in front of people. Like, I like it when the tech messes up. I like it when my lesson falls flat because I have an opportunity to model for them, that failure is okay. And that, they're like, oh my gosh, he's like an expert and he failed. And I want them to see that. And I think it's really refreshing. And that's something that's really helped in our school, is just that coaching model and following up professional learning with coaching. One thing that I'd like to do more of, though, is do some more flipped PD where something is done prior to our sessions, where we can focus our session more on just kind of the core of our work. I just feel like in that 38 minutes, I'm trying to cram in so much that I just overwhelm people, and I'm getting better at that. But I just want to figure out what we can do maybe before and after, how I can restructure, how I can make it more personalized and engaging, so that it doesn't feel like that during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things that always perplexed me and I can never figured out was, how do I meet? I know I want to meet all their needs, but how do I do that? Because with my students, my fourth graders, I had them all day, every day, and so if something needed to carry over into the next day or the next week, we talk a lot as teachers about how we don't have enough time, which I think is definitely true. Like, we don't have enough actual learning time with our kiddos. But when you really think about that compared to facilitating adult learning, that 38 minutes, that 45 minutes where, by the time you get them in there and everybody's in the dock or everyone's on the site, next thing you know, we gotta go get our kids. And so it can be, it can be really hard to differentiate, and especially then to personalize for everybody. And so I always, again, have been going back to, how can I have multiple pathways and multiple opportunities for the learning to have different entry points, because I really don't want it to be sit and get. And so anything I can build ahead of time, it's going to help them during that facilitation, but then it's going to help them after the fact, and they're going to be able to share it with other people and then keep referencing back to it. And so I keep thinking about almost like a flipped in class kind of a situation, but for our PD, because and then helping them to be able to facilitate those things. Because for me, I'm at so many different schools and trying to support really a whole district full of schools with this work, and I can't be going to each place individually, and it's really hard to kind of do that. It needs to be the train the trainer kind of a thing, where I'm going to teachers and saying, okay, here are the things, and then now you go and teach other people. And so I think any of those like do-it-yourself facilitations or building something out and saying, yeah, hey, take it, teach someone else, share it with someone else, I think those things are really cool too.
Awesome. Did you see that Ray just tweeted out that she lost Wi-Fi?
Oh, no.
Yeah, poor thing. I just told her that we're sorry. And I tweeted out the link in case someone else wants to watch. It would make me feel good if others are watching too. But it's broadcast, so it'll be there still, so it's nice. And how many schools are in your district?
Oh gosh, you had to ask me that on camera.
But
We have probably. I'm gonna look it up.
or
We have a lot.
roughly.
We're the largest school district in Colorado. I think we just went from second largest to the largest. So
Okay.
I support at any given time probably about 20 to 30 schools specifically who are engaging in personalized learning. But then we also try to have things available because there are all the other schools who aren't necessarily funded through grants or have other things available. But and it's not just me personally. There's a team of 3 of us,
Okay.
and then, like I said, we have a few other people in our district who are kind of helping and taking charge with this work as well. So we kind of get to pull in some help with ed tech and from our IT department and in our professional development department. So that's really great too, that we keep trying to think about, like, for me, I want my job to go away. Like, for my ultimate goal would be if I don't have this job anymore, because that means that it's just a natural part of the district, and there isn't a special job or a special role for personalizing PD. It's just the expectation. It's just what's happening. And so I'm constantly thinking about how can